Hey there, folks. Welcome to our run of Monsterhearts by Avery Alder. As part of the Gauntlet Reading Club, we'll be drawing on Shannon McGuire's Every Heart a Doorway for inspiration. Before we get into things, I wanted to open with a quick round of introductions. I'm Steven, he, him. I'm the facilitator for the club and am GMing this run of Monster Hearts. If we can go by character keeper order, meaning that we will open on you, Grace.
I'm Marley, she, her, and I am playing Grace, also she, her, who is the Fomorian.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabina. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing Lee, who uses they, them pronouns, and Lee is a ghost. They are not really dead, but they are a bit intangible.
Hi, I'm Kay. I use she and they pronouns, and I'll be playing Bailey/Baron. He, him are infernal.
And hi, I'm David. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Jason using he, him pronouns as well. Jason is the siren.
Cool. And this game is hosted through the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community mostly focusing on role playing games of the Indian OSR varieties. Besides publishing a zine called The Codex, it also puts out several podcasts about role playing games. And of course, it organizes a gaming calendar, which this and many other games are organized through every month. The calendar is open to non members, so feel free to jump on over there through the link below if you are interested in playing with any of the other folks here tonight or any of the other people on the Gauntlet. All Gauntlet games make use of an open door policy. We're all here to have fun and tell a story together. If something happens in real life or you become uncomfortable at the table, feel free to step away as long as you need. No one will hold it against you, and you're free to return whenever you feel ready. If you're able to let the group know if and when you expect to return, that's helpful for the rest of us in terms of framing scenes, but we understand that sometimes emergencies happen and it's not always possible. Besides the open door, we also make use of several other safety tools that I'm not going to go into too much detail on because we've gone over them many times at this point, but they are script change, the X card, and lines and veils. We have already kind of gone over lines and veils again before we started. But if anyone is interested in finding out more and you're not familiar with them, you can check out information about them at the Gauntlet website as well. And that kind of takes us through our opening spiel for today. So before I kind of imagine that this is maybe the cold open for our for if this is an episode of the show that this is a part of, that we get this cold open on some moves that Bailey wanted to make in the immediate aftermath of the last session. Why don't you go over what those are for us?
Yeah, so after Bailey and Jason had that moment, I imagine they headed back to either Bailey's or Jason's room where a fun time was had, and given the implorations of his dark master, Bailey called upon the man's power to initiate Elsewise power, where he performed the feeding, which is you feed on hot blood. It's from the vampire. You direct from the source. If this is the first time they've ever been fed upon, you both mark experience when you feed. So both myself and Jason will get an experience. And I choose 2, which is I take 1 forward, and they definitely don't die. So that, and then while doing that, he also, in sort of this hindbrain desire that Bailey has for connection, activates Marked for the Hunt. Feeding on someone establishes a preternatural bond. From that point forward, whenever you gaze into the abyss concerning their whereabouts or well-being, roll as if you had a dark 3.
Okay. And I am curious, what does it feel like to feed on Jason in this way, Bailey?
I think it's one of the most, in fact, it is the most satisfying experience Bailey has had since he has gone through his door and come back here. He is both connecting with Jason on a very primal level, and in that nature moment, and he is also fulfilling the orders of what feels like not one but two masters, without creating any kind of conflict or derision by having two sort of masters essentially in this moment.
Mm-hmm. And Jason, so I'm hearing that this was not necessarily discussed with Jason before before it happened.
No, I think we had the sort of moment where it almost just tips farther. Like you had that moment where they were leaving and Bailey sort of did that erotic lick over the chest wound.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine there was a lot of, correct me if you feel differently, David, but I imagine there was sort of teasing kisses and touches and closeness as they made their way back. And then they probably ended up in bed. And Bailey was thinking about the words that were said, that, he'd been eating the wrong things. This isn't what he was supposed to be doing. This was what he'd been told he'd been needed. And I think he had maybe been straddling Jason in the bed and leaned down and it started to kiss along where that wound was, and just instinct took over.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Jason, how does this feel different from the last time you were with Bailey?
I think there's a more of a sense of power, I think, in Bailey as he does this, and I think that is, I think that's definitely something that Jason is into.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess what I'm hearing, I'll also ask, because I think I've gotten Bailey's answer to this, but I'll ask Jason to this. Are y'all triggering your sex move on each other again?
I think so.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be the one to say it, but I was like, I feel like that's what happens.
Okay, so let's go through this. Bailey has the simple one. Why don't you read out yours for us?
Mine is very simple, which is, as I scroll back up to it, because I was looking at the vampire, it is, when you have sex, the dark power loses a string on you and gains a string on whoever you had sex with.
Okay, so you're back down to a reasonable level. Just 3 that the Dark Master has on you.
Only 3.
Yeah.
And mine is declare whether your partner is a groupie or an equal. If they are a groupie, they gain a string on you. If they are an equal, you gain a string on them. And I think in this particular instance, I think Jason definitely sees Bailey as much more of an equal.
That makes sense, yeah. He's definitely taking a little more charge in this situation than before, where it was rather, not that it isn't worshipful this time, but it's a very different sort of direction.
Yeah, and I mean, since we kind of gave this cold open, I am just kind of curious. I mean, we can, if you all want, if the people that have been left out of the triggering sex moves wanted to happen, it could. But I imagine that's probably not what is immediately on Grace and Lee's minds last night.
I don't think so. No, I don't feel that that is in Lee's mind, because, I mean, yes, we defeated an enemy together, but I don't think Lee is even all that much interested in sex with person. They might not be fully averse, but right now they are not feeling all that turn on or something. That is just
Right.
It's nice to have somebody who's on Lee's side, right? But that's basically the feeling. Camaraderie, I guess, more than anything else. Friendship.
Yeah, I think Grace is much more like, okay, we need to not die. and is a little too pragmatic to try and avoid that with
Mhm.
like pleasures of the flesh. So
So I'm wondering though, does Lee end up spending the night in Grace's room, out of safety, if nothing else?
If Grace doesn't throw Lee out, they wouldn't. They would maybe make a half-hearted, like, I maybe should go or something, but that would be very easy to ignore.
yeah. No, do you have traps on your door? You probably don't. Okay, yeah, you need to stay here.
Okay.
Let me the electrical doorknob isn't gonna work twice.
If I can
I'll think of
help
something.
you, if I can help you with
Yeah.
setting up something, I mean, I have no idea
Yes.
how to set up traps, but
Yeah, I think maybe we'll do what will we do? What do you think works on him?
I mean, electricity seemed to work.
The
Also,
electricity did seem to work, but not as much as I would have hoped. It was supposed to knock whoever touched that doorknob really should have been knocked out, and he wasn't.
I have no clear.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people on the carnival got knocked out by too much alcohol, but I don't think that's feasible. But you know what? You have all these plants. Don't you have maybe something that could be used for, I don't know, kind of a powder that if somebody inhales it would intoxicate them, something like that.
Ooh,
Is that the thing?
that's hallucinogenics.
Mm-hmm.
Hallucinogenics. Yes, we could do hallucinogenics. All right.
Okay.
Hopefully
Yes.
it works on him.
I
Okay.
got rid of my earpiece because I was so excited by that suggestion. And Lee says, do we have to try them before? I've never used hallucinogenics.
Well, I mean, there's this mushroom. But I mean,
You know what? I'm trying to
really
turn you on. It's not precisely for a sex thing, but like, let's do drugs together, maybe?
okay.
If that's okay with you?
That is fine.
Okay.
Grace may
I
in
mean,
fact be inclined for that. Yeah.
I am terrible at that because I have a heart of -1, but you know, do I have a string on you? Wait, I could just, no, I don't.
Nope.
I spent it before, so I have to find my rule book before because I didn't open that up because I am not always very organized. I apologize. I'm doing that right now and I'm talking through it because I'm clicking stuff and that's boring. Monsterhearts is the game we need. Reference sheet. And I'm rolling with hot. That's not my name. 2 dice. Yes, and I've used fudge dice. No, I need these things. They're the right shape, but
Nope. Fudge dice. I mean, you'll get a miss nearly every time, but that'll just give you the XP.
Yeah, that's also nice. No, oh, it's a 7. Okay.
There's like the half like interest, half disappointment there.
I mean, it wasn't a very forceful suggestion, so.
So yeah, Grace, you can either give Lee a string on you or pick one of those options if you go over to the reference sheet. I can also just read them out here, that you give yourself to Lee in some way. You promise Lee something you think that they want, or you get embarrassed and act awkward. That's a 7, so you can also just pick to give a string.
Yeah, no, I think Grace is somewhat intrigued by this suggestion. she has not had so much of the typical high school teenager experience, and is kind of intrigued by it. And Lee gave her enough of a flimsy excuse to, well, you know, it's for science. So
Right?
yeah, I don't know what the dosage would be. We should try.
Mhm.
Yes.
Do you have some samples on hand? Because I mean, I assume you'd have been harvesting stuff from your garden.
Yeah, I think she does. Let's just sort of, you know, say that she's been collecting.
I'm glad
because
we
I
decided
think
to
if she has
check
to
in
go,
on what Grace and Lee were up to tonight.
Yeah, me too.
so yeah, she takes out. She goes to this particular place and takes out a box which has some mushrooms and things in it, and then she takes those out and she pulls out the false bottom, which has the real stuff underneath it. And she takes out this sort of, well, she doesn't know what color it is, but Lee will know this, that it is this really kind of faintly glowing, disturbing looking thing. And she doesn't touch it with her bare hands. She actually has um, like a little pair of tongs she uses, and pulls one out. And she goes, "Huh. Wonder how much is." Okay, when I've heard about this being used, a little goes a long way. So just very small amounts. She takes out a knife and just like cuts off a tiny little sliver, and one for Lee and one for herself. Are you sure?
No, but I rarely am, so I guess if I trust you, said that before, and I'll take it. I'll just before I talk myself out of it.
Wait, did you just eat it? You just ate it. You just ate one, right? Okay, I'll eat the other
Yeah.
one. I found it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she takes the other one.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you're only
I'm
supposed to take
wondering.
one.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, Grace, is this in any way staring into the abyss for you?
I think this is totally staring into the abyss.
Great. How does this mushroom, what effect does it have on you that you are like brought closer to the abyss?
So I think it sort of dulls some of her senses and heightens others, in this way that is very appealing to her. And she feels like if she just goes a little bit closer to the abyss, that it will that feeling will intensify, and she'll have like this perfect awareness.
Cool. And what is it you want to know what is it you want to ask of the abyss?
So there's this part of me that wants to say Mamoru, but I think she is a little distracted from that right now. She wants to know how to get back home, back to Oubliette. She thinks this garden is the key, but she doesn't know how to use it. And then I roll with dark.
Yep.
Okay. Dark is -1. This will go well. 2.
Okay. That's a 2. So this will go super well. This will be a super great high for both of you, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, as you are kind of blissing out on these mushrooms here, Grace, what scares you?
She starts to lose her sense of where she is. And that freaks her out. She feels like she's somewhere else. She reaches out and she doesn't feel anything. She can't find a wall. She can't find even the floor. Is there a floor? It's all a bit weird. She tries to reach out and she'll call to Lee, and try and reach out and find Lee.
Mm-hmm. You don't feel Lee, but it's then that you feel a breath on the back of your neck.
She will whirl around and yell, "Who's there?" and put her hands up sort of in front of her face defensively.
And yeah, I think you hear a response in a voice you recognize, in Bailey's voice. Your master. And that's when you can feel a vine covered in thorns wrapping around your ankle.
So Grace, I think, let's see, is she going to keep her cool?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask here.
Yeah, like she either needs to keep her cool or she's going to go straight to lash out physically, I think. By the way, I did just ding, so
Yep.
I got the thing where I can tag my own enraged.
Yep.
How do you want to do this, Stephen? Should
It
she
depends.
just lash out, or
What are you doing here? Are you like, if you're striking out to hurt, I'd say lash out physically. If you're doing something else, I'd probably say keep your cool. It could even be like escape a situation if you're straight up just trying to get out of there.
I think her instinct is actually to lash out physically.
Yeah,
like
cool.
to lash out to harm.
Cool, sure. What are you doing?
She is going to since she doesn't have anything with her as far as she's aware, and I think she's working on some sort of primal level too. She is, oh, by the way, a thunderstorm is starting here, and it's suddenly got very atmospheric at my house. I think she's going to like reach out with like her hands and just like try and like scratch them and grab at them. Just with her bare hands. You know, grabbing at that place where she felt the breath and where she heard the voice.
Cool. And I assume you were tagging your enrage there?
I would love to tag my enrage there.
Cool. So you're rolling with a +2 then.
Okay.
Give me this roll to see what happens.
Ruling over ashes feels a little out of place. So
Yeah, and plus you already have the enraged marked.
okay. Seven.
Cool. So you get to pick one of those options from the lash out physically. Either they learn something about your true nature and gain a string on you, the MC decides how bad the harm turns out, or you become your darkest self.
Ooh, what's my darkest self? That sounds fascinating. This is like the worst trip ever. Okay.
It's great. You can find that. You can read it. It's on your sheet.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Darkest self all the way. Yes.
Okay, so sure. You reach out and read us out what your darkest self is.
Grace's darkest self. Hate is what you know best. Unleash all of Dante's hells upon people. Crush the weak before you and force the strong to bow. Any slight is met with the grandest show of force you can muster. Stay in your darkest self until you drive someone to seriously doubt themselves or a person you hate admits they fear you. So does this come with any sort of
No, this is basically just permission to be your worst possible self to everyone.
okay. Oh,
Like
look
that,
at all those strings I have
it's
built
just
up.
like it's just like encouragement to be extra to be extra.
Okay.
Yeah, your hit lands, and you can feel your nails sink into this Bailey's cheek. And they dig in, and you can feel the blood as you claw through their face. And Bailey, go ahead and mark 1 harm.
Holy crapola. Okay.
Because I think the next day when you wake up, there are 3 scab marks running right along your face.
Yeah, and I think he sort of turns, frowns, and looks at Jason. Yeah. Oh, we're not there yet. I'll when that happens, that scene happens, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. And I want to turn to Lee here, because I think you have a much less of an effect. This mushroom is not like from your world. It's had some effect on you, right? But maybe not the kind of mystical experience.
Oh, but I want to gaze. I want to gaze into the abyss. I mean, I'm doing drugs. What else are they there for?
Cool.
And what I want to know is, can Mamoru actually help me get back to my world? Is he telling the truth about that? Because I mean, if I die and go back to my world, that would be fine, wouldn't it? Yeah, pretty sure it would be fine.
Cool.
So I am rolling with dark, right?
Yep.
And I think I'm actually not that bad. No, I'm not that bad at dark. So there's 1 + 1. Okay, rolling. It's again a 7.
Cool. I think you can see Mamoru there. And it's like in that place where you're back in the water. And Mamaru is looking down at you again, Lee. It's a matter of wanting to return, Lee. Sometimes it's a matter of wanting to get there. But sometimes it's also a matter of letting yourself become so afraid that you simply can't stay. And he kneels down and looks you in the eye, Lee, and says, I can hurt you enough that your door will open for you.
Damn it. That's good. That's a good bargain, though, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Damn it.
What does Lee do here?
I think they're tempted, scared, because they don't want to be hurt. They're not Bailey. They don't want to be hurt so much that they'd be scared, but for that reason, of course, they are scared. Also, maybe they have this awareness that they might have opened the door for Mamaru, which was maybe not that clever. And they will reach out to Grace because Grace has been a rock, right? And of course, they won't reach Grace because Grace is in her own shenanigans. So, yeah, I think they. Can I give them the condition scared?
Sure.
Is that fair?
Sure. And I think that this is the partial here. I think you feel Mamaru's nails brush up against your cheeks and then sink in. And you realize it's not Mamaru sinking their nails into your cheek, Lee. It's Grace.
Damn. Yeah.
And what's Grace shouting as she's doing this? Or saying?
The master of me? You're the master of me? I will crush you beneath my heel, you insolent toad. How dare you?
Okay, so Lee is on drugs and scared, and I think that's the moment when they will try to run, because they don't understand that. They didn't try to be Grace's master, but they're a bit, they run. They just run.
Okay, give me a roll with volatile here then.
Oh, volatile, great. Love to. It's an 8, damn it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lee. I know you just want those misses, but
yeah, I did, and in that case especially. But I get to choose one. You run into something worse. Ooh, I feel that's appropriate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Running from Grace and running into something worse. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go and run into something worse. And do I take harm?
Yeah, go ahead and take 1 harm for what Grace is doing here.
Feels appropriate.
How is it that Lee is sort of escaping from the scene? Are you like literally phasing through walls?
Yeah. I mean, by any means possible, right? Which means going right through the wall, not the wall with the door because of the trap, but through some other wall and running, just trying to get out, get away, get somewhere where they're not attacked by anyone.
Mm-hmm. You're running and you stumble into a tall, sinewy woman who you do not see like in class often, but She's the headmistress. And she looks down at you, Lee, and I'm wondering, what is the disturbing rumor about the headmistress of this school, Lee?
The disturbing rumor about the headmistress of the school is that she's actually from one of the worlds behind the door and not one of the nice ones. That's the rumor, that she's someone who followed somebody else out and then devoured them, or the rumors get more gruesome by the year you're here.
She looks down at you, Lee, and says, Lee, I believe that you're aware that there was a curfew declared, yes? There are things out tonight that might eat a little morsel, such as yourself.
Yes, yes, curfew. No, I didn't know that. No one told me. No one told me.
I see.
Huh?
And she holds out one of her hands, in the gesture of like, now take my hand.
No way. I shrink back.
She lets out a sigh and then just grabs one of your hands.
Mm.
Now, young one, I'm going to take you back to your room and you'll stay there for the night. And you're not going to break any more rules tonight, are you?
No, I don't think so.
Good. Then I think that you'll only have to do detention with me for the rest of this week. And I'm going to give her a string on you.
Okay.
Lee.
That's fair.
And that's where we kind of end things, I think, for the night, with the headmistress pulling Lee by one hand to their room. Bailey, you had started a response to those scratch marks appearing on your face, but then kind of cut yourself off. Did you have a thought of how you were responding to that?
Yeah, I think because I imagine he wakes up the next morning with these scratches on his face. And he just sort of looks at Jason and says, did you do this last night?
I don't think so, though. Honestly, it's still a bit of a blur. I guess I might have done it while I was sleeping. Sorry if I did.
No, it's okay. And he like smiles a little, and you watch. He sort of almost reverently runs his hands over the marks. My body's yours to mar as you please. That's the point of it.
And I think at that Jason is going to blush quite deeply and say,
Should I roll hot?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It does seem that every anything that happens needs to be turned into an opportunity to turn Jason on.
Yeah, that feels right. And I have a forward. So that is a 9. But let me see real quick. What conditions do you have, Jace? I'm wondering if I can use the fact that you're self-involved and the fact that I'm even pleased by you. Of course, I would be pleased by something like this that you would do. Everything you do is wonderful.
I think that's fair.
That makes sense to me.
So that's a 10. So I get a string, and then you get to choose one.
Yeah, and I think leaning into kind of where I was already going. Yeah, I think Jason is going to blush, and is going to sort of get a bit fussy and say, "We should probably, I guess, get ready for class. I mean, if I assume classes will still be going on. They haven't said they weren't. And I think we'll kind of get up and start, ineffectually getting ready to trying to get dressed.
Yeah, Bailey will. I assuming sounds like we're in Jason's room. So Bailey will sort of lean up and look at him and be like, "Am I dismissed to my room to go get dressed?"
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course you can. You should go and get ready. Wear something nice. But he's still like looking incredibly flustered by it all.
Yeah, and Bailey's just gonna smile and give like a kiss towards like your chin, and then I'll wear something especially for you, and we'll go off to his room to go get changed.
Yeah. And so I think as we open things today is the session that you all have your group therapy, which of course more importance is being placed on this given the recent death, that people may have things they need to talk through. But I'm wondering, I'll throw this out to you, Bailey. Who is the teacher for the group? Yeah, who is the teacher for the group therapy session?
I think their name is. I think they literally just go by caretaker. I think they almost went to a world that was not exactly like the Giver, but like pulls from that whole like, you are named by your title and you are known by your title and what you do. And so they had gone to a world that was very much like where they were like a therapist and a caretaker for a long, long time before they ended up on the other side. And now that is what they do here, because it is the role that they know, and it makes them feel perhaps the most accomplished or closer to their world that they can be.
And so what were their pronouns?
They, them.
Okay. Cool. And I'm going to ask this because I feel like Jason would probably say that he has none, but I'm wondering what is the biggest like behavioral issue that caretaker feel has made clear that Jason needs to fix?
I think I'm going to lean into what we've already seen of Jason, and yeah, it's basically not really paying attention to anything really, but but other people lessons. Jason is very much wrapped up in his own world a lot of the time.
Cool. And as we filter in, I think I'll ask you here, Bailey, that there is like as class opens, I think like the seats are arranged in a kind of circle, and there's already set up, it looks like, some cushions on the ground for you. And I mean, it's a bit unusual. Usually they're just chairs set up, but it looks like someone took the time to or thought to set these out for you.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's sometimes at therapy they're more like, let's work on this today, and other times maybe it's a bit more understanding. But I feel like those are fewer and far between, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I think that among other things, we should make a note because as you said, Bailey is looking after this. I think Kieran is there, and they have a beanie over their head, and you can tell they have he has no eyebrows
No
either.
eyebrows, no eyelashes.
Yeah, and he is just glaring at you as you come in.
How? Why me? That makes no sense. Jamie obviously doesn't say this, but that's what could I do? I'm just a pet. But yeah, he'll sort of no. I mean, I imagine he comes in with Jason, and he's wearing similar pants, but they're a shade closer to the color that he noticed was most present in Jason's room,
Mm-hmm.
and a sort of very loose, gauzy top that sort of is, compared to the white it was yesterday, is a dark sort of green that, that's like deep foresty green that sort of highlights against his own eyes and things like that. But it's a
Right.
similar style and cut to the one that Jason had picked out. And there's the cuts across his face, and the collar is also prominently shown.
Right. And I am curious before class begins. Grace. I'm wondering how you feel about the fact that Bailey just blew you off last night.
Yeah.
So, first things first, when Grace wakes up in the morning, does she have any signs on her body that what happened last night might have been real? Thorns around her leg?
I think that you have blood under your fingernails.
It certainly got someone. Okay.
I think,
Then
in fact, as you like, if the blood, it has almost a mossy smell to it. It makes you think of the underground of your garden.
Okay. I think Grace has no interest in class today and is going to go down to her garden instead.
Cool. And I am curious, Lee. How is Lee feeling the morning after? Because you got detention, you were attacked by your friend Grace.
I think that was the drugs, to be honest. I mean, I'm still scared of the whole thing, but I am aware that we were both doing very experimental stuff, and I think I mean, they never noticed me at class, right? Right? I mean, the headmistress said, but I go. I'm looking for Grace. If Grace is not there, I probably will phase out in the middle of the lesson. But I'll be there for the beginning. And I will maybe notice that Bailey and I are scratch buddies, which is odd.
Oh yeah. When you come in, you're usually used to not being noticed, but you have big scratch marks along one cheek today, Lee. And
so
go ahead.
Out of curiosity, are they mirror image twins or are they identical? Like, so like if we stood in front of each other, would it be like a mirror, or is it like both of our like right sides or
both
something?
of your right sides?
Both of our right sides. Okay.
And like, I think Kieran just looks between the two of you and says, so like, what is this, like matching tattoos but injuries or something?
I ignore Kieran. It seems the wisest course here because I don't know what he wants and I don't know what's going on with Bailey. And I'm giving Bailey kind of look like I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, Bailey sort of frowns a little because that is strange. And just sort of shrugs and says, "Mine was a gift."
Yeah, I think that it's on that note that
The therapist shows up.
that our caretaker decides to convene the session. And well, yes, Bailey, that is an interesting way of putting things. I think it's perhaps time, particularly given the stress that of the recent events here at our school, that we discuss certain healthy and unhealthy behaviors within the rules of this world, and discuss. And they give a bit of a glance over at Bailey and Lee, certain self-harming practices.
Bailey, so I want to, like, just for the image of this, Bailey's got that, is at, like, has the cushion that was laid out, which is very nice, at the, like, chair where Jason is, and has got his, like, head pillowed in, like, Jason's lap.
Again, just in contrast to what I was saying a moment ago, it's like clear that like Jason is like paying a lot of attention to Bailey. He's got kind of a bit of a soppy grin on his face that's slightly unusual. It's I figure rolling on from the flustered earlier, it's like he's making absolutely no effort to try and play cool about this at the minute.
And while we have all come from different worlds with their own rules and practices, it's important to also acknowledge that we are not in those worlds any longer, and that to survive and thrive within this world requires developing new understandings and new ways of being. And I think it's at that point that Helen very pointedly chimes in. But, caretaker, what if we observe friends engaging in behaviors that are clearly unhealthy for them? Isn't it, say, on us to intervene and try to get them out of that situation? And I think, Bailey, at least, you are very clearly aware that she is talking about you, and either right now or as you were, maybe both.
Yeah. And Bailey just, like, you could tell there's something on, like, the tip of his tongue he wants to say, but he's sort of holding back and, like, glaring at Helen's feet.
Oh, are you trying to keep your cool here?
Yeah, you know what? Let's roll to keep my cool. So that is a -1. That is a 5.
Oh, so go ahead and mark an XP here. I don't think you have the strings to like actually bump it up to a
No, not to a 7.
Yeah. So actually, I'd forgotten to ask, what are you afraid is going to? I think I'm supposed to ask.
Yeah, I think
what you're afraid. Yeah, what are you afraid of happening here?
So like, as much as he's upset with Helen, there's like a designation in his head that Helen is a master. or a mistress, or however, however they would, she wishes to be referred to in a role or title there. And it's not his place to admonish her or to say what he's feeling here. He is lower. He is beneath. And so he's afraid that he is going to speak out of turn, which is bad, that he's going to be bad. It is not his place to do these things.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that as you're trying to keep your cool here, I think that there is a voice in your head. That voice again. She thinks that she can help you, Bailey. She thinks that she can make things right after everything she has done to you. She needs to be put in her place.
Yeah. And I think there's like a small, he's like, I have permission then to say it, to do it.
You have permission to act, Bailey. Does anything really need to be said at this point?
Oh, fucking spicy. Yeah, and I think Bailey starts to draw himself up from the cushion, and he's actually making eye contact with Helen at this point, and says, "You don't get to make those kinds of choices for people, considering you're nothing but a violent murderer." And he like draws himself up to his full height, and usually he's hunching over trying to make himself smaller, but he's well above 6 feet, and is starting to sort of menacingly stride closer towards Helen.
Mm-hmm. And Lee, I think we've talked before, back in the very first session, that you have a certain sense sometimes of the spirits that attach themselves to people, the sadness that trails after them.
Yeah.
I think that you're seeing it now, trailing after Bailey. But it's strange. Those other times they look like ghostly apparitions of the person they're attached to. This thing attached to Bailey right now, it's not Bailey. It's like some... How can you tell that the spirit attached to Bailey is not truly a part of Bailey?
I think let me look at the character keeper. Let me look at Bailey. Yeah, I think it's the eyes, because Bailey has very empty eyes, and eyes that kind of I think that might be very very trying to please the person that's looking at him. These eyes are forceful. They are demanding. That's right now. Of course, Bailey right now is like that, but that's not what his eyes said. He's not demanding on his own agenda, basically. But the sad and the ghost's eyes, they are very demanding. They're hard, cold, and dominating.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, does this concern Lee at all? This is something new and that you haven't seen before in any other person.
Of course, it concerns Lee. I mean, they still have the condition scared, and that is not very helpful right now. So Yeah, I mean, Lee is very used to not being noticed, so Lee will just stare at Bailey, or at Bailey's shadow or ghost, or whatever is haunting him.
Cool. And flashing back to Bailey, I think you hear enough words. Act, Bailey. And I'm offering you a string here, pulling your string here to strike out.
Yeah, I think Bailey is going to do that. And in fact, yeah, he is going to he's taken several menacing steps forward. And then he is going to just launch himself at Helen. And while you have just given me a string, I'm going to give you a string to enact primal dominance. When you harm someone, take a string on them. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, give a roll first, and we'll see how this goes.
We'll see how this goes. So it's a D6. I have a string on Helen that I'm going to use. 2D6 plus 0. Holy shit. That is a 4. So, oh wait, hold on. Sorry. I also have under pressure, so that's not a 4. That is a 5. And then if I use, so that's a 5. Hold on, we're about to fuck around with some math here.
Okay.
Okay, the power flows through you. I'll give them a string instead of 4 for that. So that is a 5. That is a 7.
Okay. You're at 3 string? They're at 3 strings on you. Do you also want a primal dominance here?
Yeah.
Okay. So first off, which of those do you want to pick when you lash out physically? They learn something about your true nature and gain a string on you. The MC decides how bad the harm turns out, or you become your darkest self.
I'll let you decide how bad the harm is.
Okay. Cool. And actually, how are you striking out?
I think it's just his like his fists and his nails. And it's suddenly again, Bailey always tries to shrink himself down, but he's someone who works out, who was very athletic, who was also sort of kept in a prized condition to be shown off, who walks several miles during the day, works out. He is actually very fit. He probably doesn't go around fighting people, but there's definitely some, attractive level of muscle mass maintained there.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and... Man, I think that you're also being empowered, and I think you just, crash through. You crash into her, the chair breaks under her as you, ran into her, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took several steps and then just leapt, like a feral soaring leap a la VTM.
And I think you are in a haze for a moment. And you're also activating that. You get a string on her, so mark that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's then that you just feel 2 strong hands on your back as you are laying into her, just grab you and throw you like you're a sack of grain or something like that. And it's Caretaker. And they are looking down at you. And this is probably one of the few moments where they have evinced any kind of anger or tension. And this behavior is not allowed, Bailey. And you look over and you can see that that chair, it is broken apart, and like there's actually like a piece of it has like gone into Helen's shoulder. And she's at 3 harm, so she is fucked up by this.
Yeah. And Bailey just sort of like almost glares back at Caretaker. She killed him, and she dares to think that after everything she has taken from me that she could give me orders that she is fit for that role.
Yes. Miss Montgomery informed us of the circumstances of your arrival at this school when you were both inducted. Now, and they look out, and Caretaker looks over at you, Lee, who of course do not want to be noticed in this moment. Lee, I believe the headmistress has informed me that you will be doing detention with her. I believe that you can escort Mr. Bailey to see her as well and inform her of what happened here.
That's not...
Can you do that? Yes. Okay.
I must look after Miss Montgomery. I'll be ending class early here, and I would like you and Mr. Bailey to report to the headmistress immediately.
Yep. Okay.
It's not fair. I was listening to orders. I was following orders, and I was being good. I shouldn't be punished for being good.
This is a world, and they are like speaking in a not like a shout, but they're speaking in just such a level voice, and it's like kind of like just a very loud like baritone. This is a world of rules, like the one you came from, but unlike it. You have broken the rules of this world, Bailey, and for that I would see much worse happen to you, but the headmistress has instructed me as to how you children should be punished. So you shall report to her.
Yeah, I think Bailey actually looks kind of cowed at that. That sort of no-nonsense voice and the remembrance of rules. And he draws himself in again, no longer standing at his and sort of meekly almost actually looks to Jason to see like if Jason agrees. Like, does Jason think this is right?
How does Jason feel about this? Because Helen is like, she's at 3 heart. She's clearly in a serious place right now.
I think Jason is still much more fixated on Bailey at the moment, and I think is just going to stand up and go over to him and say, "You should go with Lee. Don't make this any worse for you than it already is. I'll see you later."
So I'm curious, is Jason spending a string here, or are you trying to take advantage of that special shutdown move that you have?
No, this feels. I don't feel, certainly Jason doesn't feel like he's shutting Bailey down here. But yes, I will offer a string because I do want.
Yeah, Bailey will take it, and is just gonna sort of sidle up over to Lee, and he's gone, very quiet and sort of, is hunched over, and you can feel him, or you can see that he's fiddling with the collar and sort of.
Oh, yeah. When Bailey sidles up to you, Lee, you can feel the heat off this thing attached to him.
I'm putting a bit of distance between me and this thing, and but not that far, because I don't know. This is exactly what. No, this is not exactly what we were meant to do in the carnival. This is not a sad emotion or a bad emotion. This is far worse. So you will see, Bailey, that Lee is actually pretty worried about you and everything. But they won't say much. They will say, "Come on," then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bailey he'll like you can tell he sort of appreciates the fact that there's like care in your eyes, but then he averts his own eyes and just sort of keeps going.
Yeah. And when we come to the headmistress's room.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna cut there for a moment,
okay.
because I wanted to shift over to
what are you doing, Grace?
Yes.
Can I just add a little one last
Sure.
sentence before we go in to Bailey? We will just say, there's something following you, right? It's not your friend.
What are you talking about?
There's a presence with you. It's nothing good.
That's not true.
It is, but I mean, you don't want to hear that, so. But I thought I just need to say it, because it has not your best interests at heart.
You just don't understand, Lee. Just like I wouldn't understand where you're from and the sweeping. You don't understand. And he sort of like lets out a breath, and you actually take a small smile. Like, it's a part of him that got to stay with me, even though she took him from me. She didn't take all of him. I'm lucky, so lucky.
No, you're not. You can't even. I can't. You don't understand. I don't understand. But I think it's gonna hurt you badly. If you ever need help, you can come to me.
Oh, and Lee, the smile, it sort of just grows a bit, and Bailey says, you just don't understand. We're not from the same place. If he wants to hurt me, I'm his to be hurt.
And you don't even see why that is not good. You don't even see that you're worth something, that you don't deserve to be hurt. You don't even see that.
And there's like a hitch in his breath, and you see like there's like this flash of panic in his eyes. I am worth what he deems me to be worth.
Mm-hmm. Everybody is worth something for themselves, not for what other people think about them. That's just what he wants you to believe. But I have not the words. I can only, if you're hurt, I can help. But like this, I can. Do you want to be hurt? I can. You need to let go of that before I can help you. But if you do, I will. It's just all I'm saying.
You just don't understand, Lee. It's not about what I want. And then I think he'll reach over and rap on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, because Lee, do you think your transference is triggered here?
I tried to trigger it, yes, but I don't know.
Because it doesn't say, but they have to, like, you actually have to give advice. It's just that you spend time truly listening to someone else's struggles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then that's fine. Yeah, okay. So you will heal one harm and then transfer the rest of your harm to me, which is again
One harm.
another one. What's then one harm? So I'm at 2. Okay. So after that talk, you might notice or not that Lee is staggering a little, and that the wounds on their cheek they look a bit deeper.
Yeah, and I feel like the wounds on his aren't there anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where you see several like he goes to reach for you to make sure that you don't fall over, and like several emotions play over Bailey's face. Like there's like relief, and there's this warmth and joy, and then there is anger, and then there's fear, a lot of fear. And then he tries to sort of school some of it back, and he's like, you should be careful. When you take something that wasn't given to you, they get angry.
I can't take something that isn't given to me, Bailey. It's not how it works.
And you could just you see, you could, it's like that moment when you're looking at someone, you can tell the gears in their head are turning.
Yeah. And I'm curious, actually, just as before we hop out, like as we close the scene here, do either of you think that you want to resolve any of the conditions you have on you? Because it feels like that scene might have led to some shift in conditions here.
I think Bailey's definitely still feeling pretty chastened, or chastened, especially after that interaction with the caretaker.
Yeah. Do we think that Lee is as scared as they were before?
No, because this is something they actually know, right? Doing this was something that was actually kind of familiar. The yearning is still there. Oh, they want to go back, but they're not as scared anymore.
Cool. Yeah. So, as we shift over, Grace, you're going off to your garden, right?
Yeah. She wants to. She is not entirely sure what she's going to do yet, but she has enemies and she is going to take them down, and for that she needs her stuff.
Cool. So what is Grace getting up to down in her garden?
I think she considers it compromised. So she is trying to clear it out as much as possible and make sure that she has various things to harvest, and seeds to grow it again. And then I think she's going to booby trap the hell out of it. So the next person who comes in will get smoked pretty good.
Yeah, I think that the thing you immediately notice as you're cleaning things out here, and is that that moss, the moss that you mentioned was like growing really well recently. It sprouted flowers. They feel like roses.
And that's not something they're supposed to do, I assume?
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay. That is super weird. And I don't think she and Bailey have had any conversations about the flower metaphors going on, so I don't think she has any reference to figure that out. Okay, she will keep those separate, but she will in fact harvest some. And then I think as she leaves, she wants to destroy all the plants that are left. Nobody gets her stuff.
How is Grace doing this?
So depending on how much they are, she might just take it all with her. How emo are we feeling? Would she set it on fire? She is her darkest self at the moment. Let's see.
Raise it to ashes.
Raise it to ashes, and Dante's hells are in fact the metaphors being used in these descriptions. Okay, yeah, she's going to set the rest of it on fire.
All right. I think that this is poor decision making enough that I'm going to ask a lash out physically here.
Okay. We are all about the poor decision making at the moment. So that is volatile. I probably have the relevant.
And you still can tag that enraged.
Yeah, we tag that enraged, or honestly, ruling over ashes. It also seems relevant.
Yeah, I think you'll need to clear that enraged. Like maybe this will like, you know, this is like, you know, this sort of thing like punching a boxing bag only with fire. Like it might clear some of that anger out so that you can tag it again.
Okay. So what am I rolling with? Plus
You're rolling with your volatile and another 1 because you're tagging your enraged.
Okay. 11.
Cool. So, yeah, on an 11, I think that there is a... So just to clarify mechanically what happens here, on a 10 plus, you deal harm, and they, and we'll interpret this widely, choke up momentarily before you can react.
Before they can react.
Yeah. I think that there is... So I'm going to ask, what about just setting this fire makes you feel so good, Grace?
Because she is back in control again. She hates to have things that she can't. That's why she does her stuff with her traps and things like that. She likes to know where everything is and be able to put her hands on it. And it always bothered her that this is sort of so far away. Now, if her enemies were trying to come here, which they might, because she told Bailey, and Bailey clearly is not a good friend. Who knows who he told?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll come here and they won't find it. They will find ashes and whatever trap she left for them.
And you know what, as those flowers burn, who they smell like? They smell like Jason. And after all, who was the one that took Bailey from you? Like, Bailey was yours until Jason started interfering.
Yeah, but Jason's just a self-centered asshole. He's going to get tired of Bailey soon. I'm not sure I want Bailey back. Smells like Jason. Was Jason in here? Did Bailey show Jason where my stash was? Bailey is such an asshole. She's going to tell him that next time she sees him.
Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of thinking things through here. As I'm wondering if any of this is bringing you again kind of closer to the abyss again. The scent of fire, this feeling of rush.
Sure. Gazing into the abyss is always fun.
Yeah. What are you asking of the abyss this time?
What am I asking of the abyss? I feel like if she were completely within her facilities, she would be asking how she can defeat her enemies. But I think she is feeling darkest self and very vindictive. So I think what she actually wants to know is where her enemies live.
Awesome. Give me a roll and take +1 forward here.
And that is plus dark. Yeah, because these rolls always work great for me. Okay, so that's an even 0. 8!
Cool. And so on a partial, you get what you wanted, but the visions are confusing and alarming. I think that as the fire burns and the smoke curls around you, I think that you see exactly what you need to do to reach your enemies. Exactly. Not so much the question of like where they're at, but the only way you're going to reach them is through burning and destruction. If you make a big enough fire, just cleave through this school, just maybe you can tear your way in to wherever your enemy's lair is.
Right. I need to burn the school down. Got it. Should probably pull the fire alarms first, but burn the school down.
Mm-hmm. And as that fire is kind of wreathing around you, Grace, I'm wondering how is Grace feeling right now? I'm not Grace feeling. Do we think that any of your conditions are kind of resolved a little bit here? Like, do you think that you are a bit less, like, not all the way less angry, but a bit less angry? Or do you think that you're no longer feeling like you're the lesser?
Oh, she's absolutely not the lesser. Yeah. Bailey wants a milquetoast version of a master. That's up to him. Could have had the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely not lesser. I could see the angry sort of morphing into more of a determined.
Yeah, if you maybe
kind
want to
of
get rid of
thing.
enraged and replace it with determined, that would work.
Okay. I've also got angry, which really feels synonymous with enraged, so that feels a little. Should I replace both of them, or should I keep one?
Yeah, you can just clear both of them and write in a turn
Okay.
determined. You'll
Okay.
probably get that enraged again soon.
Oh yes. Okay. So she turns her back on the burning room, starts to, unfurls her cane, starts to make her way back, and starts to plan in her head, okay, we need to disable the sprinkler systems, and what areas would the fire travel best along? And okay, a lot of the school is wood, but there is some concrete. How are we going to make the concrete burn? And that is what she is thinking to herself as she wanders off.
And I think one last scene has to kind of close things out before our next break. As we fade on that image of Grace plotting her pyromania spree, I think we flash over to back to the school proper. And I think, Jason, you've gotten a summons to the school. Like, I think over the PA system, you've heard a summons to the school nurse's office. Is that the sort of thing Jason would actually follow up on, or does he ignore that?
Yeah, no, he will do. I mean, he's not that much of a he's not like an intentional rebel, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I think he'll start heading that way.
Yeah, and when you come in, resting in one of the beds is Helen with Caretaker. And Caretaker looks to you, Jason, and says, Miss Montgomery wished to speak with you. I will, and he glances down to Helen, give you a few moments. And Helen nods to them, and Caretaker nods back and steps out of the room.
Yeah, and I think Jason will kind of stand there, arms folded, waiting for what she has to say.
And she's clearly still pretty messed up from what happened earlier. She is bandaged up, but like her left arm is in a sling, like her shoulder is like heavily bandaged and has like, you can see that there's like that there's like the outer layer of bandage and then like some cotton layers under that, some cotton gauze layers under that. And she kind of, in a kind of hoarse voice, says, you know that you're not helping him, right, Jason?
Well, it doesn't look like you're doing a great job of it either, does it?
And she kind of chuckles, but then winces. Yeah, I guess not. But you know that no, not that's not she you know that you're just feeding that thing inside of him. Right?
I think
You can tell that whatever is wrong with Bailey, it's not just him. It's that there's something else as well.
I think maybe he needs what's inside him feeding up a little. You should see the fire he gets in him. Well, I suppose you have.
And she nods. I've seen that fire, Jason. But what happens to the kindling that fire's made out of? The thing that's inside of him was supposed to die, and I was going to take his place. But he didn't want that, so he found a way to break the rules.
Well, some rules are made to be broken. I think I have to phrase that. No, I think that's good. Actually, I think that's where I'll leave it.
I think she says, "Not this one." And if you care about Bailey, Jason, about Baron, you need to keep away from him. Because I can tell that thing is almost ready to hatch. And when it does, I don't think that there's going to be anything left of Bailey anymore.
I think they've obviously got you on some pretty strong stuff, Helen. We love each other, and I'm not going to let anyone get between me and him.
Hmm. And I mean, you do have that condition, so I think she's going to ask, do you love him though, Jason? Or are you just in lust with him?
I know what love feels like.
I'm going to ask here, as the GM, does Jason know what love feels like?
No, absolutely not. From
I'm going
in
to
a
ask
very
then.
in a very superficial
I'm going to ask.
superficial
I'm going
way,
to ask then here, as you say that. I'd like you to keep your cool here. What are you afraid is going to happen?
I think that Jason is afraid that he is just going to realize this is just yet another superficial distraction from his real life back in back on Mount Olympus, and no mortal can really replace the gods.
Mm-hmm. Give me a roll with cold here.
That's an 8.
So on a 7 to 9, the MC will tell you how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back that down and go through with it. I think on the 7 to 9, I think that you can either, you can admit that you love Bailey, but I think if you admit that that's something you actually feel, it means admitting that your door will probably never open for you. Do you still go through with it?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. That's yes, I think he is going to say it anyway.
Cool. And I think she looks at you, and I think there's a moment where she can see that you're not just saying it because you feel like it's a thing to say. It's something you actually feel. And I think she gives a slightly crooked grin and says, "Maybe there's hope for you yet, pretty boy." And I think that it's then that she shouts, "Hey, caretaker, I need more painkillers." And I'm wondering, Jason, I think you feel that thing you've let slip away, that pull that your own door has on you. What does it feel to lose that? Or to give it up, as maybe you might feel it now?
I think it's almost that ringing in his ears, sort of cotton wool type. Just dissociation almost from the as much as is in many ways more of a connection to the real world, it also feels somehow like a distancing from it.
Cool. And so I think that as we fade to black there on that moment, I think that's a good moment there. I think first off, I think probably this if you'd agree that this maybe resolves your self-involved condition.
Yeah, I think that's probably more or less fair.
Yeah, I think that we'll fade to black there, and we will jump into our second break of the day. I think this will make a shorter break. We'll meet back up at 15 after, if that works for folks. Okay, I'll see you all in a few. I look forward to seeing how we resolve things this session. What's going to go on in that detention?
Sorry, what did David say that made someone go "aw"?
So Jason admitted that he loved Bailey, even though the consequences was that admitting such a thing and fully possibly believing it meant that the chances of him ever finding and going through his door again are basically none.
Oh, okay. Then I only missed the "aw" and I heard the conversation. Thank you. Oh.
Yeah. Also, oh my god, the comment, maybe she wanted Baron. It's just twists me up inside in the best ways. Because now I'm wondering, like, how much did Helen maybe see? Did they come around the same time? Like, did she see Baron before he became Bailey? Like, and things like that, or maybe they'd even passed by in like a life beforehand. Like, who knows? Like, well, no, unlikely because she's so much older. But yeah, she must have, like, she'd seen him when he came in. I don't know. All the like ferrety brain fuzzy wuzzies, like wondering and questioning, like.
Yeah, I mean, if she is significantly older, so she must have seen Baron come in, right?
Yeah, so she saw
there.
Baron. Yeah, so she must have been there and she saw him
when Baron came. So I mean, kind of that's cool. That's very cool.
Yes, it is. It is
I
wonderful.
forgot she spent so much time there. It does raise all sorts of questions about whether she had a thrall of her own, and
she must have.
Yeah,
if it been there that long.
I think that she had said that she had not yet actually become a master. That's what they were making. That's what they were making her into.
Yeah, she had been training. Yeah, I could see how that takes a lot longer than the opposite. Because she'd been there for like 15, whatever the equivalent of, like, it must have been a very long time, because it was the equivalent of 15 years or something, I think, of like our time in our world, which, considering how usually slow it, like, years to Bailey felt like, what felt like years, maybe like 40 or 50 plus, who even knows, was only like a handful of months. So yeah, it's wild thought.
Yeah, well, it might be some timey-wimey stuff going on there, right?
For sure.
It's not, I don't think it's a precise science.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So yeah, to check in, have folks had enough of a break?
Yep.
Cool. So I wanted to open back up on your detention in the office of our headmistress.
Bold of you to assume I'm going after I sent Bailey.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not. I have to go look for Grace because she wasn't there, and I'm worried. Something with those mushrooms went pretty much off, and I had these scratches, and she attacked me, and then she wouldn't do that unless she felt really threatened.
Cool.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. So I wasn't sure.
I'm just leaving. I mean, she's gonna be distracted with Bailey, which is good, and she'll probably forget about me. Lee is pretty much used to people forgetting about them, and she's there. They've used that to their advantage before.
Is Bailey going to this detention then, or is Bailey also just blowing it off with Lee?
Oh, Bailey's. Well, I guess so. Bailey's going into the principal's office, which is the detention. So yeah, he's going in. That was an order. That was a very pointed order. He has not gotten anything to contradict that from a quote unquote higher power, and he is not typically a rule breaker unless he is ordered to do so. So he will be going in.
Cool. And as you come in, the headmistress, and I think we never really described her, but I think she has long dark hair and skin that looks like it has seen a fair amount of sun. It is tanned a light. There is a light. She looks like she's fairly naturally pale, but she has a light tan to her skin. And as she looks up at you, Bailey, she says, Bailey, I believe that Lee was meant to be coming here with you.
And Bailey does like a very, almost like in a cartoon, you usually see where he like looks over his shoulder expecting Lee to be there, and Lee is gone. And Bailey sort of draws it. I apologize. They were with me a moment ago. I don't know where they went.
And she nods. Wonderful. I will have to speak to her about that. Speak to them about that. I will have to speak to them about that later, it seems. But I believe I have been told that you are here about a certain act of violence against one of your classmates.
Yes.
And you know why you were sent to see me, Bailey?
Because caretaker deemed it a violation of rules.
Of course. Because, well, violence is a natural consequence of this world, is it not? Certain actions have violent responses and whatnot. But the reason I have caretaker keeping an eye for behaviors like yours, Bailey, is that your violence was not based in the laws of this world, was it?
It was based in a reasonable law response based upon what they have done, what she has done, and what I'd been ordered to do.
Does one regularly expect a student to interrupt class by almost murdering another student? And then she sort of looks at you, and do not try to name Cordelia, because I have also spoken to her about this.
No, it is perhaps that the venue to which I performed my action was not acceptable. I did interrupt therapy class, but I was given an order.
And where were you getting these orders, Bailey?
It was really actually magnificent and wonderful. I heard him. My master, even though she's killed him, there's still a part of him, and he spoke to me, and he told me what had to be done.
Bailey, this... I think, yeah, she comes over and looks you over. And I think that there is a sort of, from what we've established of her, a cat-like gleam to her eyes. Just because in this place, just because you receive an order from this master, you know that there is no actual need to follow it beyond your own desire.
That's not true. That's not how it works. That's not what I am.
Yeah, I think she looks at you. I think you mean what you were, Bailey.
No, that's not what I am. You can't go back. It's what you are. It's who you are. It's the belonging I was meant to have, and it's where I'm supposed to be, who I'm supposed to be. Even though she tried to take it from me, from us.
I think so. I guess I'm going to ask here. Do you think you're trying to shut the headmistress down, or do you think you're trying to keep your cool here?
I think he's trying to keep his cool. I think this is a fear that he entirely has, which is if he is not Bailey, if he is not this, this pet, what is he, and what is his worth? Because he's not Baron anymore. That's for sure. This is what he is. This is who he's been for so long. That there isn't anything else, and the idea that he can't be that anymore is absolutely terrifying to him.
Mm-hmm. Give me a roll then to keep your cool.
Okay, that's a 7.
Cool.
Medium cool.
I think to keep your cool here, as you're talking with her, I mean, there are things she says that certainly make bits of sense. You do have the choice to say no if you wanted to. I think, though, if you wanted to really put her off, to say, no, this is what I am, it would mean giving that last string to your master. And you're at 4 now.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it would mean to a certain degree backing off and swallowing your denials, admitting that maybe you are just a little bit something other than a pet.
Yeah. Oh, man. And I think that Bailey just sort of cocks his head a little and lets himself sort of almost gracefully just slip onto his knees as he, gives into it and hands over that final string and enters his darkest self.
Yeah. Go ahead and read your darkest self for us, Bailey.
Of course. You find yourself shivering, needy, and alone. The dark power will make some daunting, open-ending demands. Every demand fulfilled brings you closer to feeling whole again and removes one of the dark power strings on you. You escape your darkest self when the dark power is out of strings, or you make a bargain with an even more dangerous entity.
Cool. And I think it's then that you feel like a prickling along all of your skin, like you are on fire. Like not a intense feeling, but there's this sense of burning that is running along all of your skin. Like someone, like you are under attack and you need to get out of that room.
Yeah, I'll run away.
Yeah. And I'm not going to ask you to make a roll here because this is something that sort of is a consequence of this move you just made.
Yeah. Which is funny. It's like he falls to his knees and then immediately gets up and runs away.
Or even not. Like we can actually say this doesn't necessarily happen there. I think if anything, maybe yeah, with the way you phrased the setup here, I think if anything, like the headmistress finds herself shoved back by the heat coming off of you. And I think you feel like something is pressing up right now out of your skin. You need to get this shirt off.
Yeah, he pulls his shirt off.
Yeah. And I think that actually, let me just quickly double check our lines and veils here. Yeah, I think that we sort of see, like, I think the camera's angled, like, kind of facing you head on. And I think we see an arm just burst out of your back. And another arm bursts out. And it is like the afterbirth. Wet as they pull down and those arms just keep pulling out on a whole person, another you, but not actually another you. I think the camera sees a difference here because you had given us 2 photos of the Bailey after and the Baron before.
Yeah.
And the one crawling out now is Baron.
Oh, that's so spicy. And yeah, I think Bailey is like in full child's pose on the floor, head bowed against it, panting and keening, because that certainly felt like a thing as a person crawled out of him. But he sort of tilts his head and looks a little confused, and his eyes are a little crossed and glazed through the pain and everything he's sort of feeling, and this need, this sort of emptiness as he looks at this Baron.
And he looks down at you and looks up at the headmistress, who is still kind of pinned against the wall. Hello again, Bailey. And it's your voice, but it has the lilt of Baron to it, and the lilt of the Master. It's time to get to work.
Yeah, Bailey just scooches forward on his knees, ignoring probably the agony he feels on his back, and just absolutely, shaking. Like he looks like he is a junkie, and he just like presses his forehead to Baron's foot, and is just, thank you. You're here. I am so alone, and it's so empty, and I just need you, and now you're here, and it's gonna be okay, right? I'm here, and you have me, and I have you, and his hands are sort of gently encircling, clutching on the ankle there.
Mm-hmm. Our work here isn't done. Grace has made a move against us. She tried to burn us. But she was just a little bit too late. But she needs to die. Or no, that's a little bit too specific. She needs to be punished. Because these are open-ended. So and that would be very specific to
kill her.
Yes.
Yeah, we could just show her she didn't know that she was being bad, and I'll make sure she's good. I can do that for you. I can do anything for you, whatever you want. I can show her that she needs to apologize, and she needs to accept her punishment with grace, so that she can learn and she can be better. That'll make you happy, right? You'll like that, right?
Mm-hmm. He nods.
Missed you so much.
I missed you, Baron. Not Baron. I missed you. Sorry. I missed you, Bailey. And he looks up at the headmistress. Now go do that. I have work to take care of here.
I have to go. I can't. I don't want to leave you.
There's so much that needs to be done, Bailey. Go do that, and then we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I can do that. And he gets up, and his legs are shaking. It's like they're barely holding his weight. I imagine there's probably some blood streaming down his back. And he staggers a bit and pauses. Could I just, before you go, maybe just something, a little something before we separate?
A pet doesn't make requests, Bailey.
You're right. I'm sorry.
A pet does what he is told.
You're right. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I'm so sorry. And he just bolts out the door.
Great. And Lee, you said that you were looking for Grace, weren't you?
Yeah, I was looking for Grace.
And where do you think Lee finds you? Because you were in the middle of plotting burning down the school, right?
Yeah, but burning down the entire school takes some planning. So I
Yeah.
think at the moment, she's in the library on downloading the blueprints of the school to her computer.
Oh man. Yes, and Lee, that is when you show up. And I'm wondering, what about Grace's kind of aura or spirit today? How can you tell something is unusual about her?
She's always burning, but she's not usually on fire. Yeah, okay. Maybe that was not such a... Maybe when they say don't do drugs, they have a point. Never considered that. Huh. Weird. Anyway, so I will knock somewhere because I know she can't see me and say, Grace, it's me, Lee.
Lee, hi.
Yeah. Hi. Are you okay? Because I think that the thing we did last night maybe didn't go so well.
Oh yeah, we should never do that again.
No, you attacked me.
Oh.
I know that. Oh no, you didn't mean to, but I was scared at that point.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah. Sure.
And when you say yeah, sure, and she starts to reach her hand out towards your face, which, you know, she hears your voice. So,
yeah.
Am I going to feel some gouges over here?
Yeah, probably when
Yeah.
I took over Bailey, so they might have opened even deeper. So
I think they're probably freshly bleeding exactly because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Wait, Bailey?
No,
Bailey had them too?
Bailey had them too, yes. Yes.
Okay. That is a bad sign.
He said it was a gift.
That's not how I meant it in the hallucination, but I also didn't think that part. Okay, yeah, that does kind of make sense. I found some blood under my fingernails, so yes, of course I hurt you. That makes sense. I'm very sorry about that, by the way. Yeah, let me get out my... And she starts rummaging around for her first aid kit.
The whole mushroom thing was my idea, so
yeah, but it was my mushroom. It's okay.
Well,
we'll get you patched up. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Bailey got hurt. Okay, so that part is not a hallucination either. So part of my hallucination was that, you know how Bailey has this thing about masters and stuff like that?
There's something from his master with him.
Yeah, like
he's not alone.
Like in the vision, the master was coming for me, and I was fighting back.
Oh wow! Okay, wow. Okay, he's always had this thing, but that today that was a lot more than usual. I tried to talk to him, but he thinks he has to be like that.
I feel like I'm going to need more words on this one.
He thinks his entire feeling of worth is tied to this master. He doesn't have any feeling of worth in and of himself.
Yeah, exactly. His dead master.
I don't think he's dead.
Yeah. Okay, why do you not think he's dead?
Because he's with him. I sometimes I see people's ghosts, and I don't know why yours is on fire today, but is it okay? I mean,
that I do know. Well, let's focus on Bailey for now.
Okay.
So Bailey.
Anyway.
Thank you. So the we can talk, and here she's like starts tending to your wounds, and as always is very, very delicate with her ministrations, because she sort of has to feel up your, and since it's on your face, you know, you can feel her fingertips running up your neck as she feels for them.
Yeah, give me a roll with to turn someone on here.
Okay.
Just cause.
Just cause I thought it was going to come out in the healing process, but sure. What
The way the
stat is
healing
that?
rules
Oh,
are
hots.
made is
There's
to
a
encourage
hots.
you to The healing rules are set up to encourage you to roll to turn someone on during them.
Does not come naturally to Grace. Right, -1. That's a 4. Oh, I get to mark experience though.
Mm-hmm. I think, well, rather than, because you are kind of in the middle of your darkest self here, I think, why is Lee a little bit of a distraction right now, Grace, from like, the people you really need to like focus on getting revenge upon or humbling?
It's true. I mean, she's here with her wounds, and I'm patching her up again. When
I mean,
really
but
we need
she
to focus
is,
on burning down the school.
you do know she has some weird powers. They have some weird powers. I mean, might they be useful as like a tool of some sort? If
Oh
not,
yeah, we're
as an
totally gonna do
equal.
this together.
Because, I mean, you do
Okay.
have those strings you can spend on them to get them to do stuff for you.
Right. So one of the things we need to do, well, the thing we need to do is burn down the school. Because one of the things I learned from living with a dragon for so many years is sometimes you just have to cleanse it with fire.
Mhm.
There's really nothing else to be done. You got your gelatinous cubes just in all the wrong places. You just have to start over. So this place is infested with masters and mamaroos and I don't even know what else, but we're going to smoke them all out literally by setting them on fire. So I figure we need to disable the sprinklers.
Mhm.
I think a lot of this building is wood, so that'll go up pretty well once it gets started. It's mostly trying to disable the deterrents ahead of time. And also I'm worried about the basement. We might need gasoline down there.
What about the people in here?
Oh, no, we don't need to burn the people. We get the people out first.
Good. Okay. I don't mind. In the carnival, buildings burn down all the time. It was just.
Oh, so you have experience with burning down buildings.
I did not build.
This is my first time.
I did not burn down a building myself. Never. I mean, why would I? But we occasionally, when we went out sweeping, we found buildings that had been burned down or were still burning. Most of them, they were smothered by the mist. They were still burning, but you knew that it was fresh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know much about that, but I know that we need to be aware of smoke. That's what I know. But
okay, that's fair.
I mean,
so I guess
yes, I am willing to spend strings.
Mhm.
I'm not sure where in here that needs to actually happen, but
yeah. I would like you to spend strings, but
yes,
I don't think Lee is totally opposed to the whole thing. They're cautious because burning down the building seems a little extreme, but on the other hand, what's happening here is a little extreme as well. So, okay, and they're willing to follow your lead.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
If you convince them.
Yes.
Like spending a string.
Yes, I just spent a string. It is spent.
Okay. And that means I get an experience point because I will do what you ask of me. And I think we will both get an experience point because right now Yearning has taken it's on the back seat, the whole thing, because we need to burn down a school and apparently.
Yeah.
This is a ghost thing I'm taking an experience point for.
Yeah, whenever someone helps the ghost resolve their yearning condition.
Uh-huh. And I think that helped in a weird way that helped resolve. Sorry, my yearning.
Help resolve a condition by getting them to do some worse behavior.
Yes, isn't that fun? That's what being a teenager is all about, I think.
Yeah. So what is, as we kind of fade out here, because I think this might be the moment here, because I'm assuming plotting to burn the school will take a little bit of time. How do we see Lee signing up to help? Like, what is Lee doing as they are helping with this burn down the school plot?
You're
They
muted.
should unmute themselves. They can walk through walls and they can fly. I feel that's kind of pertinent to getting some stuff where it would help because we have the plans and yeah.
Oh yeah, do we see Lee grabbing stuff from like the maintenance shed?
Yeah, exactly. Just walk through the
Okay.
wall, grab some gasoline and come back.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I need some fertilizer and I need some.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll see if
And we
we
see them
end up
discussing,
lasting
and
the
we
full
see-
run at this point.
Yeah, and we see Grace like talking about how setting the thing, and Lee occasionally reminding her that like, oh yes, we also need to check the exit routes because Grace occasionally needs reminding that we're letting the people out. But
yes. Yeah, I feel that is a good cooperation they got going.
yes.
Yeah.
Grace would normally think more about that, but she is her darkest self at the moment. So, they've got eyes. Like, how much hand holding do sighted people need, really? There's exit signs that they can perceive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, smoke whatever. But yeah, Jason, as we fade out on that arson club meeting, where's Jason at? He would just been off to the nurse's office.
Yeah. I guess if there was no more class or anything like that, I think Jason might have just gone back out to the to go and play some guitar on the fountain again, where we saw in the first session.
Mm-hmm. And I think a shadow falls across you, and we see that it is Bailey, maybe? I mean, he looks, if I'm being totally honest here, way more put together, and probably like his hair is styled a bit better. His eyes are a little bit more sparkling than Bailey's. His grin is just a little bit, more charming than Bailey's grin. Not that I'm judging Bailey. Or how he looks a little bit less cute than than Baron. But I mean, he is not wearing, I think, the thing you notice. He's not wearing the collar.
And I think Jason will kind of notice that in particular, and will hold out a hand and sort of pull, go to pull Bailey to sit down next to him on the fountain.
Oh, yeah. I think when you do that, he instead kind of comes down next to you and pulls you into his lap instead.
Well,
I missed you. And actually, I want to get a quick check in here. Pause. Are we okay with Baron like basically not really explaining that he's not actually Bailey in this scene?
I'm certainly okay with that.
Okay, cool. Because I know this is definitely pushing on some awkward consent issues here.
As long as the players directly involved are okay with it, I am okay with it.
Cool. Okay.
He will let Baron pull him into his lap, and say, well, you're feisty this afternoon, aren't you? How did the meeting with the head teacher go?
Oh, he rolls his eyes. Oh, you know. She put up a fight, but there wasn't much left to be said when things were over.
And yeah, he'll run his hand up to Baron's neck and say, "I don't think I've seen you without that on before." And we'll just kind of rub against his throat with his thumb.
I know, I was feeling like a change. And, and he runs his hand up to your neck as well. Actually, I was wondering, Jason, if for me, and he kind of whispers into his ear, and with one hand pulls out a collar, if you consider wearing this for me. And I'm going to spend that string to tempt you into doing this, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely, I will. And Jason will say, "Of course," and will kind of stretch his neck out to allow Baron to put it on him. And as sort of he does that, he'll say, "I told Helen I knew what I was doing."
Of course. Of course you do. And as he locks that collar into place on your neck, he leans in and kisses you and bites one of your lips. And unless you want to do anything else in this scene, I feel like maybe that's a good place to draw things to a close for the day.
No, that's cool. And yeah, no, again, Jason is clearly happy for this to be going down. His but yeah, no, other than that, I am good.
I mean, I guess I should ask then, like, is this, are we leading into another triggering of the sex move yet again? Not yet.
Potentially later, but yeah, probably not right now.
Yeah, okay. I just didn't know if like we were fading to like the like tasteful like sequence going off from that, or if we wanted to hold off for now.
I'm probably good holding off for now, and
yeah,
then,
cool.
see how it.
Awesome. So yeah, I think so. That gets you your final XP. We finally get the advances for everyone here. And I think that where we end things here. Thanks everyone for watching. I had a lot of fun. And thanks everyone here for being such great players. I'm going to sign off now, so I will be seeing y'all.